Hello and welcome to the round 12 team lineups video. It's George from Fantasy Take TV, and today we'll discuss the 12 teams that are playing this week. So there's only 6 games this week as it is the first bye round. We'll also go over some important rookies, 2 from the mid-season draft that I think are a good chance to play during the byes, and also 2 players that we might get next week that played last week. So we'll go over that. Also, we're sponsored by Manscaped, so big up to them. So grateful for their support, and the link is in the description to all their incredible products. So thanks to them. So first, before we get into the team names for Friday night of the Dogs versus Geelong, we'll touch on 4 rookies. So quickly, the 2 that played last week, Mitch Owens and Jacob Ware. So long story short, don't go early on Ware. They have Nick Haynes, they have Lockie Whitfield, they have Adam Kennedy to come back into the team. I went early on him because it got me on point. It got me points on field last week and this week, so hopefully that pays off long term. But the defense bench is really sketchy at the moment, so I wouldn't go early on him. But I think I'm not sure. There's definitely a chance he plays, but there's you can see good players are coming back into the team. The other one is Machito Owens. So I think Billings played VFL, which is interesting. 10 tackles. For me, I just want him in the round 13 bye round. I don't think you can possibly drop a rookie, 10 tackles, 2 goals. Like, you can't drop that. I don't know, that's soul destroying if they do that to a kid. So, yes, they do have some players to come back. Jack Steele, I think round 14 or 15, maybe 16, around that area. I read somewhere potentially around 14, so Steele should be out for a while. I know they have some other players to come back in, but I think he's the one you go early on, and I'm pretty sure he plays around 13. I'd be staggered if he doesn't. The next 2 players from the mid-season draft, Sam Durden and Jai Cully. So we'll go over Sam Durden. So he was drafted by North. He's a key position defender. Looking at his SNFL numbers, so I keep looking down at this. It's got the numbers in front of me. 15 disposals, 5 marks a game, and also 5 rebounds a game. So it looks like he's a key defender. I don't know his intercept numbers, but he can. 15 disposals a game for a key defender is not that bad. I don't know if he takes in kick-ins, but it looks like he's been used a bit to rebound at AFL level. Well, they got Doherty, they got Sard. So yeah, he's been drafted to Carlton, 123k defender. I think he's a good chance to play in round 13. Because he's new, I think there's potentially a chance that Kemp plays key position defense. I doubt it though. I think Durden is much more ready than Kemp to play key position defense. With Wiedering going down, I think he'll play. I wouldn't go early on him. But I would think that if you want to go someone next week, it's probably Durden over Ware, I think, if he's named. But we'll reassess that if he's named next week. So the numbers stack up. Mitchell, age almost 26, spot there for him. I think seems like a decent prospect as a rookie for us. And Jai Cully, mid forward, I think averaged in the 90s somewhere. Was it Sandringham, I want to say? Well, I can't even remember what league he played. But yeah, he is. Adam Simpson said that he's a 102k mid forward. Adam Simpson said that he could play in round 14. So he's one we could look at. If you have like Connor McDonald in that last bye, or I don't know, even anyone, maybe like a Hobbs you need to cut in that last bye. He's one that you could look at, 102k swing. Not sure on how he goes at AFL level, but I think I was watching AFL Draft Expert. He said that he's like clear top 1 in the mid-season draft, and he would have featured pretty high in this year's draft. I can't remember if he said top 10 or top 20. It might have been top 20, but in the AFL draft. So looks a good prospect. 19 years old, so a little bit older, but not too sure. But he's one where you just want him to play in that last bye, and that's all you want. So someone we might get later on. But that's enough on that. We'll get straight into the teams. So Western Bulldogs versus Geelong. Baz is back. Out is Sweet. Out Cleary. So that's relevant. Get to that in a sec. And in Gary Rowan, Reece Stanley out. Francis Evans, Narkle out, and Neil out. So again, Chris Scott loves dropping youth. So I don't know why he does that, but it's whatever. But yeah, so Bailey Smith is back. So yeah, I had him F3 for the year. I think when Bruce comes back, I think Bond probably overtakes him. But for the short term, I think he's probably going to be around the ball a bit more than Bont, I think, which is why I have him scoring higher till Bruce comes back. But yeah, he's definitely top 6, and you definitely want him in your team. And sooner the better, I guess. But I think the priority is Tim English this week. And yeah, Sweet out. That's good for English, you would think, but it didn't really affect him. Sweet was mostly forward. Although I think English was a bit more forward in the fourth quarter, but probably just put the Q in the rack last week. Cleary out, so it's a bit unfortunate if you have him. I have Thompson, so in the same boat as Cleary owners. And it looks like Buku Karmas is playing. So I think he struggles to impact. He goes missing for entire quarters, but they're backing him in, and he's pretty new to the role, so it's fair enough they're backing him in, and he does provide a contest in the air for them. So yep, he's one way if you held him. Obviously, if you went for him, he's fine. You got to field him this week anyway, so that's all good. So yeah, not much going on. So Tim English, I'm bringing him in this week for sure. So he'll be the most traded in premium, I believe, even though he has that buy, but low break even. Averaging nearly 130. You think I think he can do 115 or 120. Looks like he's going to do more than that. So very high ceiling. So yeah, he looks great. I'll be bringing him in. That's about it on that side. Interesting to note, McRae and Libba had 70 plus CBAs last week, which is more than what they've had in previous weeks. So I guess that's a good thing for McRae. Geelong side, hopefully, as a non-Stewart owner, hopefully they put some time into him, because it's just getting absurd how much free reign he has down back. And they let him play on Darcy Fogarty. What is that from the Crows? But anyway, this is me being salty. And nothing really else going on in Geelong. Cooper Stevens held if you have him, so that's kind of nice. So you get a score from him. And that's pretty much it. So we'll go down to the Crows versus West Coast. In Parnell, a 123k defender rookie, and Taylor Walker. Out Chase Jones, Butts, and Brown. In is Hearn. Maybe that affects Witherden a bit. We'll see. Out Jermaine Jones and Josh Rotham. So first and foremost, Parnell, a rookie. I wouldn't go early on him. He's one you can look at after the bye potentially. Basically likened to Caleb Daniel in the sense that he's 175 centimeters, good ball user off halfback. Apparently he's really good agility, good decision maker. I think I just said that. Good kick, good decision maker, same thing, sort of. And he has a bit of pace as well. So again, I'm not the biggest fan of 175 centimeter defenders, because defenders need to defend. But yeah, Chase Jones is out, so he's omitted, and Brown is out, health and safety protocol. So out of Parnell, Brown, and Jones, I think there's room for two, so maybe one of them comes back in. I mean, the Crows this year, they've just been bringing rookies in and out non-stop, or players up to fifth year, just in and out non-stop. It's a bit annoying, but they should give him a run. He's essentially a second-year draftee, so yeah, extra year in the system, I guess, which helps. Numbers in the SNFL, only 17 disposals, so that's not super high, but yeah, I'm not too sure. I guess it's one, don't go early, just wait and see. Yeah, because Jones or Brown, they could be in for Parnell, I think, but if he's a bit underwhelming, but the Crows, defense, Will Hamill's struggling to accumulate, so he could be out for one of these guys. So it's one I for fantasy, I'm not against going early on him, because he's by far the cheapest option. Otherwise, you have to pay a bit extra, 250k. I won't talk about fantasy this video, but yeah, I wouldn't go early on him regardless. So, although I might in fantasy just because I care less in that format, but that's moving on. I'm willing to take more risk. Saligo's been very good, so yeah, he'll keep playing. So if you have him, he's been a good pickup. And Dawson was named half forward last week, but yeah, half back this week, and he'll be half back wing again, I assume. Matt Crouch named again. This is frustrating. Especially a few people went on Haitley. So it might push Haitley out onto the wing a bit, which is really frustrating. So hopefully it doesn't hurt Laird much or Keys, but I don't think it will much. And yeah, that's about it. On West Coast side, not a whole lot going on at West Coast. Bailey Williams, if you have him still playing. Greg Clark last an interchange, so we just want him to hold. We want him to play this week. That's the main thing, and hopefully in the last bye as well. I don't think his job security is super solid, but you'd think that he keeps playing. Just they play him out of position. And yeah, moving on. Gold Coast versus North Melbourne. Jai Farah and Sam Day in. Out Constable, who was sub. Sharp omitted, that's interesting, and Casbolt is injured. So in Ben Mackay, out Zerha and Marnie. So they got their key defender back. So looking at Gold Coast, someone posted a picture of Took with calf strapping. It was just strapping, so in Discord, I don't know when it was, but I think they said it was this week, so I wouldn't be too worried, just strapping, and he's named. Nothing really on Gold Coast side. Jeffrey's been good if you picked him up. Again, going to be volatile scoring, but he's playing North, so that is a good thing. Sisas on the interchange is emergency. I think Constable will probably be sub again, or maybe Sharp. At on North Melbourne side, if you had Paul Curtis or Flynn Perez, they're playing, so that's quite good. You think they definitely Perez will keep playing, and I think Curtis should keep playing. So yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know who's first ruck here. Cherry was disappointing last week. Melbourne versus Sydney. Tomlinson, Salem, Ed Langdon, James Harms, Tom McDonald in. Melksham, Dunstan, Wiedemann, Stephen May, I think concussion out, Bedford out, Rivers out, and then Sydney, Amadi and Blakey in, out Braden Campbell, Lance Franklin, and Matt Roberts. Struggled a bit last week, but still a good prospect. So, Melbourne's side, Petrarca's all good apparently, so hopefully bounces back from the flu game. I wonder if, do they put Rowbottom or Mills on some weird role on Clary? Maybe they go to Petrarca, but it seems like they've gone back to tagging Clary teams, so see how that goes. Yeah, that's about it on Melbourne's side. I think, again, Melbourne's been very... outside of the three players, not a whole lot of relevance. Sydney side of things, so worth noting, if you have Jake Lloyd, I'd probably trade him on his bye if you can. He's lost all his kick. It was 1 kick out to 8. Blakey's 8 to Jake Lloyd's 1 2 weeks ago, but yeah, Blakey didn't play last week. So if that keeps up again, I think he has to go. Heaney, I'm trading Heaney again, part 5. So maybe we'll do a shot to celebrate that in the review video. Form is not good, and he needs to be playing like one of the best players in the comp to score at a position, and just looks nowhere near it. He's really struggling at the moment. I don't know if you saw, I don't know what it is, but he's nowhere near his best. Played okay last week in the midfield, but still didn't put up super great numbers. So yeah, Heaney's gone for me. I think the problem is there's just too many good forwards at the moment, and in Heaney's current form, like in fantasy, he's a must trade, but in Supercoach, it might be okay to hold. But maybe he bounces back, but I think it's been a good 6 weeks where, I don't know, 4 out of the 6 weeks, he's looked pretty poor, to be honest. So, yeah, and he can't kick a goal to save his life at the moment. So he's, I think, 1 goal, 2 goals, 9 of his last shots, something like that. Yeah, he's been great, but unfortunately, the form isn't good. And, form is temporary, class is permanent. But in the past with Heaney, and I'll probably speak about this in the review, in the trades video tomorrow, Heaney has been up, down, up, down, up, down, down, and eventually it averages in, almost 100 for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years in a row. But this time he was like really good for a big stretch, or I don't know, like 5 weeks, and then since then he's been like pretty poor for the most part. So he's struggling, and yeah, I'd rather take a player with a better position. So he's gone for me. But yeah, thank you for your service, Isaac. It's been fun. And yeah, I don't know if they use Rowbottom or something to tag or anything, but we'll see. Dylan Stevens, I think he had 37 in the the VFL, but I would think Campbell's ahead of him for sub. Sunday, Fremantle versus Brisbane. So very much looking forward to this game. I think this will be it's just for a top 2 spot. I think pretty much an 8-point game. So Sunday teams: Blakely, Hughes, Meek, Crowden, Wilson, Erasmus in, out, Chapman's injured, Taverner and Walters in, McLuggage, Matheson, Berry, Fullerton. So McLuggage will come in off a hamstring. These 3 probably not. Mitch Robinson's out. On Fremantle's side, Luke Ryan was good last week because they swung Logue forward, but I don't know if that was like a one-off thing. No one really plays forward here. Like Meek, I guess, but he's like a ruckman, so I'm not too sure. He probably doesn't even play. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, but I wouldn't worry too much about Luke Ryan. Too many other good options that are a bit safer. Brody centre forward, it's probably a troll, you would think. And that's pretty much it. Brisbane, Jared Berry scored well last week. Doesn't really mean anything though, not really relevant. Dane Zorko, halfback. I mean, the problem with Zorko is he's 33, he's old. You don't know if like bad scoring is, is he going to return to that bad scoring, or is he just, he's old, is he just declining? I don't want to deal with that. I'd get the hell out of that pick this week, to be honest. Not even next week, unless you can cop the price drop of his 170 break even. He could come out and bang a 120. It's very much possible. He's got it in him. He's looked really, really poor the past 2 weeks, like really poor. So, and playing, I think it was a bit more forward last week as well. I would get out of the pick. Because he's not top 6, so, or not even, I don't think he's top 10. I didn't even have him on my, I don't think he even goes 90 for the year. Maybe that's overreaction, but I haven't liked what I saw the past 2 weeks. Limited preseason. Maybe he gets a spell, does well, but we'll see. Neil and Lyons on ball, it's all good. Maybe, McLuggage, maybe he plays a bit on ball. Maybe Berry scored well with that McLuggage, I'm not too sure. And yeah, moving on. So last game, Hawthorn versus Collingwood. Gunston, Kelly, O'Meara, Morris, Hardigan, Reeves in, out McGuinness, Scrimshaw, and Frost in, Chug, Reef, and Rusco. I don't think any of those three play. Maybe Reef, I'm not sure, but not the others. So this game is so Connor McDonald and Sam Bullett, the one and only Connor McDonald that I hope you all held, will play. So he played named on field, so that's fantastic. I can feel a big score from Connor McDonald this week. I just know it's going to happen. But yeah, he's been doing his role really well. So, and he had a spell the other week. Butler's doing okay. He's probably a bit deeper than Connor McDonald. So yeah, doesn't have the high ceiling, but shown some good sides. Really clean with the ball. So he's been okay. Tom Mitchell named on ball. 480k, could you do it? I'm doing it in fantasy, but he's probably more suited to that format. Only the 85 last week, but he had a hell of a lot of clangers. So, it's not the worst option for 480k. Just, you don't know if like they take away his CBAs again because O'Meara was out last week. So fully expect the CBAs to go to 50-ish this week. He can still score okay. I think he can do 105 in this role. Or 105 for the rest of the year, because he's actually not that far off it if you take away his flu game. So I think he's okay M8. If you want to compete with the best of the if you want the best team you possibly can get, you don't touch him. But if he's in your price budget, I'd rather Zach Merritt next week. But the next guy I would go is Tom Mitchell. But yeah, I'm not interested in Tom Mitchell in Supercoach just because I'm not sure what the role looks like going forward for the rest of the year. And he's been a bit up and down, but I don't know if that's he was playing a bit sore early in the year with groin issues, I think, but then started heating up. So that's enough on Hawthorn. And Collingwood I don't think there's anything going on. So Cameron named forward and Cox. So DC might pull out a poor one just because they're using Cox a bit more to ruck. But the beauty with DC is he takes all those marks, pushes up the ground, marks on a lead, even takes intercepts and contested marks. So he does push up a lot, and he does get that bit of ruck time. So Reeves is in. So is he named? Okay, so Reeves named on an interchange. So maybe they're just seeing if he gets up or not. But regardless, still I think DC should score okay, like decent enough matchup to score okay. But yeah, he's one I'd get rid of on his bye. But yeah, being a good pickup for you if you got him. So that's all from me. Openda renamed a halfback, so maybe he scores a bit better off halfback. So if you have him, I'd still hold him to the end of the bye. I think he can bounce back, but yeah, not too sure. At least he had a full preseason, unlike Sorka. But you expect some sort of bounce back from him. So that's all from me. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on Friday to do our final teams video. So thanks for watching.